What's up, guys? It's Celtic here, and today I'm going to do a review of the Player's Kai figure Lara Croft. As I mentioned in the unboxing of the collector's edition of Tomb Raider, I was really surprised that this figure actually came along with it, because it was kind of neat that Square Enix kind of included this figure with the collector's edition, because normally with collector's editions of any kind of previous games for the 360 or PS3 or the PC, you pretty much will have a statue of some sort, and it'll be on the base, and to have this figure in it just kind of amazed me, and it's a good surprise, kind of like it also gives people who actually pre-ordered or purchased the collector's edition will actually have their hands on this figure a lot more earlier, since he's planning to re-release around June or July, I believe, but I could be wrong on that. But to start off with this figure, she stands about 8 inches tall, and she's about 2 inches shorter than your typical Player's Kai figure, which is not too bad, but some aspects of her, it kind of seems like her limbs are a lot more smaller compared to other Player's Kai figures, specifically on her hands, really, and the pegs, but I could be wrong, and I'll probably do a comparison on the other figures later on. She comes with accessories, and a ton of them. She comes with 3 hands. She comes with two right hands and 1 left hands. There's one to come in bandages. Alright, hold the gun or the pickaxe. Here, another trigger fingers here. I believe it's probably to hold a shotgun. I believe so too, as well as the pickaxe too. And we have another right hand, which is probably meant to hold the bow, and probably the other weapons that she has. I was trying to fiddle with it for a while, but I wasn't too sure for what use it has other than the bow, but I'm pretty sure someone knows that more than I do. She comes with 4 weapons, I believe. No, 3 weapons, my mistake. The pickaxe, well, it could be as a weapon, but then again, yeah, whether pickaxe could be a weapon or accessory, either way it works fine. Here's a pickaxe figure. Put her away for now. Very nicely detailed and painted. The nice red and the detail on the handle, the blade itself. Zooming up close, you can see there's some ridges on the pickaxe itself, both the small end and the large end, which is very nicely detailed. I absolutely love it. You have a closer look of that handle and the bow. There's kind of like a brown paint to it, which is kind of faint. I don't know if my camera will pick it up really well, but if you could actually tell from the handle and the rest of the handle here, it's a bit more gray. That it doesn't seem well. Like it could use a more brown paint on the handle, or more of a brighter brown to it. It was not too bad. And here we have the arrow itself, which is very nicely painted and detailed in so many ways in one. As you can see, the tip is painted black. Another weapon she comes with is the shotgun, which is very nicely sculpted and painted. You can see there's some details on the barrel itself, and you can see the ridges on the handle where she, for pumping action, as well as some bandage wrapping on the handle of the shotgun itself, which has some nice dirt on it. See more on the other side. It's very nice and well done. Here is the end of the arrow, all zoomed up. See even more detail on the end. It's very nicely painted with the handle being red, and you can see the dirt and the individual feathers on the bow, which is very, very nice. And the final weapon that she comes with is the pistol, which is very nicely sculpted and detailed, painted on with the brown on the handle there, which is very nice. Got some ridges there, very nicely detailed. Wish that she would come with 2 pistols rather than 1, so that way you get some more awesome poses with the figure. But then again, seeing as though this is the origins of Lara Croft, having 1 pistol seems to make sense, but it is what it is. Now with the accessories aside, I'm going to actually discuss about the figure. I do have a couple of gripes with the figure, but I'll get to that later. Right now I'm going to show you the positive things about it, and right off the bat, she's very, very incredibly detailed, and the paint applications is amazing. Zooming up close, you can see how detailed this figure really is, where she has some dirt on her lower right cheek, as well as on her top of her chest and her arms. This is very nice. And checking in the back, she got that bandage on her left arm, very nicely detailed. Probably some dirt or some light paint application, which seems to be like blood, which is very nice. Getting a closer look on the head sculpt, we can see that it's very nicely painted and detailed, especially on her lips. Got a nice red paint to it, and she probably got some brown eyes. I don't know if a camera could pick that up, as well as showcasing the strands and how nicely sculpted her hair is in the front. It's very, very nice and neat. And we can see the straps around her chest. It seems very nicely detailed and very nicely painted, looking very, very cool. Going around to her back, see that there's that holster there to store her shotgun. Again, it's very nicely detailed, especially with the silver paint on the straps or buckles there, which is very nice and very neat, very cool. And checking out the back of her, we can see how detailed her hair is, showcasing the individual strands of her hair. And being as is a Lara Croft figure, you can't skip to note the fact that she actually has a nice rack to her, which is nicely spread apart and looking very, very hot and sexy. I like that. The sides of him look very nice from the side. The chest on Lara seems different because her chest seems not much support and wide apart, whereas with Harley Quinn and Meryl's, they seem well together because they wearing a bra and mascara showing nice more cleavage, unlike Lara's. Seems like that Lara seems to admire her chest, Harley Quinn's chest, a lot more than her own. And Harley Quinn is probably doing the same thing as well. To the lower part of Lara, you can see how detailed and how incredibly painted it is, the gun holster around her waist, which is looking very, very cool. See the creases more on her tank top as well as on her pants. See the bandage strap around her right thigh, as well as the detail. Get a focus there. Detail on her pouches and her cargo pants. See the amount of detail and how nicely painted it is on her gun holster, as well as the back of the figure on her back pockets, and as well as she got a nice ass to boot with an awesome rack there. Get a focus there. You can see the rips on the pants on the back of her left thigh. Looks very, very nice. And seeing how detailed it is on that buckle there, it's very painted silver, which is very, very nice and neat. Very, very nice. Love the job on that. Even more rips on her pants on her lower right leg. See more openings, very nicely detailed, as well as the paint applications. And I believe this is some sort of mud that looks to be represented on her lower pants. It's very nice. See even more bandages there. Get a focus more on her left leg. Close look on her boots is very nicely detailed. You can see around the lace holes on it, which is looking very, very nice. Very nicely painted and incredibly detailed. She's also got a very nice amount of detail on the bottom of her boots, showing off the ridges and whatnot, and this looks very nice. Articulation for this figure is that she got a ball joint on her head, which allows good around of motion. Could be restricted. It depends about poses you give her, since this holster and the shotgun could get in the way with the end of the ponytail. I don't know, it kind of seems like there is some articulation on the end of her ponytail, but I'm not even bother. But there could be, or could not. But my guess is that it probably isn't articulation from her ponytail. Her hand goes outward, her arm goes outwards by that much. Also, her shoulder can move in and out, but not too much. Also, be gentle with it, because that part seems a bit more fragile when it comes to Play Arts Kai figures. She got a bicep swivel. Just go left and right for good range of motion. Elbow joint, swivels left and right, as well as hand rotation there on the wrist. She got a ball joint on her torso, which kind of moves back and forth very nicely, but side to side, not too much, because of the way how it's sculpted there. She's got a waist joint, kind of moves left and right to some restraint to it, or some limit to it, because again with the holster being in the way and all, kind of limits that. She got a ratchet joint, just goes out more on her left leg, in the back too, not so much on her right, because again the holster kind of gets in the way. Well, it could get good range on the front and the back. Probably the same one as on the left leg. She got a double joint knee joints. Very nice ratchet. Unfortunately for this figure, she doesn't have a thigh swivel. It's kind of a real downside to it, because like I said, kind of like one of the gripes I have with this figure is she's kind of a bit hard to stand, really, because without a thigh swivel, it's kind of really difficult to have her standing very well. Before the review, I had like at least maybe 10 or 15 minutes worth of trying to get this figure stand right, and it's a little bit of a pain. So I guess like a thigh swivel would have been really nice there. She doesn't seem to have a ankle swivel, but she does have foot rotation. Goes forward and back. Some ball joint there, console left and right, as well as foot swivel there. Get a good amount of poses there, but again, it would have been really nice to have a thigh swivel. Another gripe I would have with this figure has to deal with swapping the hands of Lara, because it seems like on her right, it seems a little bit more difficult to swap her hands with the one on her left, because apparently with her right, it seems like, I don't know if you can see the gap, tiny gap there. That bottom part where the hand would usually swap kind of tends to separate whenever I try to switch hands, which kind of worries me because I'm worried that I might actually break it when it comes to swapping hands. Well, when it comes to swapping hands on the left, it seems to come out very easily, and when I'm putting in another hand, it seems to go in just that fine. I don't know if it has to do with my figure, but maybe other figures are a lot more different, but with that, I'm kind of a little worried and probably won't be able to swap hands as much, seeing as though it's, a very expensive figure. It's also worth noting that these hands are not as difficult to swap with Lara, because unlike other Polaris Kai figures, some of the hands of other figures tend to be more difficult depending on how they're sculpted. But with Lara, it seems like they come to pull in and out very easily. But one of the other downsides is that when it comes to pulling these hands to swap with other ones, her fingers are like so thin, especially with her trigger finger. Just gonna zoom in real quick, or focus. Like with this hand, it seems to be a lot more fragile as well as the other hands when it comes to swapping. So I kind of bit more cautious and more worried when it comes to doing that. So I probably won't do as much since I'm trying to take real good care of this figure. Size comparison, you can see how Lara stacks up with the other two Polaris Kai figures by being the same height as Harley Quinn, but both of them being 2 inches shorter than Meryl. So overall, despite the gripes I have with this figure, I actually recommend it because the amount of detail on her is incredible from head to toe. The paint applications and the amount of accessories she comes with is pretty much worth the money right now, especially when she comes with a game that normally retails $60, and for this figure that normally retails around $60 to $70, both including one packaging that costs $100, is pretty much a bargain. I definitely recommend to pick it up if you can find a collector's edition, because collector's editions of this game may or may not be difficult to find, but we had the opportunity, get her. She's definitely worth it, and even though it could have used a thigh swivel to help her balance up, I definitely would recommend getting her. Hopefully you guys find this review helpful. Thank you again so much for watching, and see you next time.